Hey everyone, it's Miss J. Today is Wednesday, March 25th, and we're going to start math class. So with you, you should have a pencil, some scratch paper. If you have the physical packet, that's great. Have that in front of you. If not, you should have the math packet open in a different tab. Okay, so let's get started. For our first problem, it reads, Jose has $125. He spends 1/5 of his money on a watch. How much money does he have left? Now, I've drawn a model to show that he has $125, and we're going to break up our $125 into fifths. Now, when we do that, we're going to have $25 in each box, as you can see here. Great. So now I've shaded in 1/5 to show that that's how much of his money that he spent. Now, if he spent $25, we're going to figure out how much he has left. See that he has $100 left. You can also show this by doing $125 subtracted by 25, which is the amount that he spent. In conclusion, Jose has $100 left. For our next problem, Miss Sparks loves dark chocolate covered raisins. She has 8 bags and each bag has 652 raisins. How many chocolate covered raisins does she have in total? Now we can see that if Miss Sparks has 8 bags and in each bag has 652 raisins, we can easily see that this is a multiplication problem. So I'm going to set up my algorithm and solve. After we solve, we can see that Miss Sparks has 5,216 chocolate-covered raisins in total. Take a minute to check your work and revise any mistakes that you may have found. Now we're going to scroll up and move on to the next problem. Taylor eats 1 2/3 cups of cereal every day. How much cereal does she eat in a school week? Now, it's really important to realize that we're talking about a school week. How many days do we have in a school week? That's right, 5 days. That's not to get confused with a full week, which is 7 days. So we can see that this is a multiplication problem. We're going to multiply 1 2/3 times 5. Now, I used 2 different strategies here. So for my first strategy, I set up an area model, and then I found my partial products. So in this box, I got 5 times 1 equals 5. And here I got 5 times 2/3 equals 10/3. Now I'm going to add that together. But we notice that we don't have like units here. Can we add like units or unlike units? No, we can't. So first we have to find like units. So what I did was I multiplied 5 times 3 over 3 because that's going to get me a common denominator of 3. And I have 15/3 plus 10/3, which is going to get me 25/3. Now we have an FGTO, so I must turn my answer into a mixed number. And when I do that, I'm going to get 8 1/3. My second strategy was turning my mixed number into an FGTO and then multiplying across. And I would get the same answer. So in a more efficient strategy, that would save me more time. So in conclusion, Taylor eats 8 1/3 cups of cereal in one school week. For our next problem, Stella has 7 pieces of fabric. Each fabric is 5/8 yard long. What is the total length of Stella's pieces of fabric? Again, this is another multiplication problem. I'm going to multiply my fractions. 7 over 1 times 5/8 equals 35/8. I'm going to turn my FGTO into a mixed number, and I'm going to get 5 3/8 yards long. Miss Cueva has 6 baskets that each weigh 12.4 pounds. What is the total weight of all baskets? Made sure to write out my number sentence, which is 6 times 12.4 pounds. Now, when solving this problem, we must remember the rule about decimals and multiplication. While multiplying and using the algorithm, I will take out my decimals as if they aren't there, and then I will solve that way. So I'm going to get 124 times 6, and that's going to get me 744. Now, again, remembering the rule of the decimal point, I'm going to count the number of place values after my decimal point, and that's going to tell me where to place my decimal point in my product. So we have 1 place value after the decimal point, so my decimal point is going to be 1 place value to the left. My final answer is 74.4 is the total weight of all baskets. Now remember, in between each problem, you should be pausing the video so that you can check your work along with mine, making sure to revise any mistakes that you notice. Right, friends, we're getting closer to the end of our math class. So here we have 2 mixed numbers that we're multiplying together. We have 5 1/4 times 4 5/6. But before we solve, we're going to estimate. So by looking at our fractions, we see that 5 1/4 is closer to 5, and 4 5/6 is also closer to 5. So 5 times 5 would be my estimate, and my product is going to be 25. So my answer should be somewhere around there. Now, to solve this problem, I've used an area model. You can see that I set up my area model, making sure that it's super neat and organized. I have 5 times 4 equals 20. 1/4 times 4 equals 4 over 4, which also equals 1. Then I have 5 times 5/6, which is going to get me 25 over 6, or 25/6. Then I have 1/4 times 5/6, which equals 5/24. Now I'm going to add all my partial products together. But of course, I'm going to add my fractions first. But again, we are going to notice that we don't have like units, so we can't add those together. So we must find common denominator. So I was able to realize that 6 is a factor of 24. So if I multiply 6 times 4, I'm going to get 24. So 25/6 times 4 over 4 is going to get me 100 over 124ths, plus 5/24 equals 105/24. Then I'm going to add my whole numbers together, get 21 plus 105 and 105/24. But before I can add those together, I want to make sure that I turn my FGTO into a mixed number. So then I'm going to have 21 plus 4 9/24. When I add that together, I get 25 9/24. Now I'm going to go back and look at my estimate. My estimate was 25, and my product is around 25. And this will help me see that my answer is correct. So again, in between problems, you're pausing the video and you should be checking your work along with mine, making sure that you have the correct answers. Here we have some multiplication algorithm, making sure to organize your algorithm so that your numbers are lined up. Make sure that you're checking your work. Check your lines and make sure that they're correct. If you see anything that's incorrect, go back and revise your work. Okay, so here the directions tell us to fully simplify the fractions below. Use divisibility rules to help you find common factors. So here we know that 12 and 42 have common factors of 6. So we're going to divide that by a form of 1. And we're going to get 2/7. 32 and 213ths divided by 3, which equals 44/71. And here we know that if the digits in a number are divisible by 3, then the entire number is divisible by 3. So 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 2 equals 6. We know that 6 is divisible by 3. 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, and we know again that 6 is divisible by 3. So we can divide this number by 3, and this will be our simplified answer. 62 and 105th, we know that a number ending in 5 can only be divided by 5, and 62 is not divisible by 5. So we're going to leave that as is. That is our simplified fraction. Now for 90 and 144ths, we know that both numbers are divisible by 9. Then we're going to get 10/16. And we also know that 10/16 can be divisible by 2. And our simplified answer will be 5/8. Now for our last problem, we have Marco stack some of the following Legos to make a tower. So we have a key that lets us know the Lego color and the Lego size by centimeters. The problem asks us, what is the height of 3 teal, 2 magenta, and 1 beige Lego? So I made a key here, as you can see. The teal Lego is 2.5 centimeters. Our magenta Lego is 3/5 centimeters, and our beige Lego is 3 3/4 centimeters. So we know that we have 3 teal, so we're going to multiply that by 3. I changed my mixed number into an FGTO, multiplied across, and I got 15 halves. Then I have magenta. We have 2 magenta. So I'm going to multiply that by 2, and I'm going to get 6/5. And we have 1 beige, so that stays as is, 3 3/4. And I'm going to turn my mixed number into an FGTO. And I'm going to add all my parts together so I can get the total height. But again, I'm going to notice that we don't have a common denominator and we cannot add unlike units, so we must find like units. I know that all these denominators have 20 as a common multiple. So I'm going to make equivalent fractions. And once I do that, I'm going to get 150 20ths plus 24 20ths plus 75 20ths. And in total, I'm going to get 249 20ths. Now I know that 20 goes into 100 10 times. Once I do that math, I'm going to see that 20 goes into 249 12 times. And then I get my final answer, 12 and 9 20ths. So right now I would pause the video, go back and check your work, make sure that it's super organized, and revise step by step to make sure that you haven't made any mistakes. Now for your last problem, I'd like you to take what we've done so far and apply it to this last problem. Once you've done the work, you should get an answer of 18 3/4. And that will be all for today. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and you guys have been doing such a great job keeping up with all your work. If you have any questions about the work from today, please reach out to your teachers and let them know and ask any questions that you may have. Bye, guys.